Did you know that your toddler can actually be abusive?
Really? I guess so. Like when you really think about it. I mean, someone kicking you, hitting you, scratching you, pulling your hair, clawing at you.
All the time? Continuously?
That's abuse.
It is.
I'm Alexander Lilly and this is Donna Palmer, and in this video we're going to give you 3 steps to free you from your toddler's abusive behavior. But before we get started, click the subscribe button and that bell so that you are notified anytime we release a new video on how to handle your child's challenging behaviors.
So for the past 25 years, we have been in the field of early childhood education. And you know what that means, toddlers. We've seen them, you name it, we've seen the behaviors, challenging behaviors, abusive behaviors, we've dealt with it. And over the years, we have been able to find the strategies that we needed and to manage those behaviors. So what we do now is to really help parents with those strategies to manage those behaviors, and we want to help you do the same.
Step number 1, acknowledge that it is abusive behavior.
Yes.
And call it as it is.
Yes. You know what? I mean, we're all parents, okay? These are our little babies. Toddlers, they're 2 years old, they're cute as a button. And you know what? We find it really hard to associate some words with them. So if you think about your 2-year-old who's cute and cuddly and you want to put the word abusive and pair it with them, it just doesn't fit and it doesn't work in our mind. But let us look beyond the child. We're not calling our child, our toddler, abusive. We're just calling the behaviors what it is. So hitting, biting, pulling your hair, punching you, kicking you, moms and dads, that's not a nice feeling. And it hurts. It hurts physically, it hurts emotionally, and it is abusive. So the first thing we'll have to do is really get our minds to that place where we recognize that it is abusive behavior and call it as it is.
Okay, step number 2. Adopt the mindset that there is no excuse for abuse.
That's right. Nope. Do you know what? As parents, we find it very difficult to even think of our toddler, that cute, cuddly little baby. Sometimes we think of them as babies still. And we're going to use a strong word as abuse. And that just doesn't work for us in our minds. But for this session, I really want to help us to look at the behavior, not the child. Your toddler is cute, is cuddly, a wonderful child. The behaviors, however, is abusive. And there is no reason for any of us, under any condition, to make an excuse for abuse. Now, think about your toddler who is kicking you, hitting you, pulling your hair, physically hurting you. You know what? I know that they're tired. I know that they're angry. I know that they don't have the words yet to express themselves, so they get frustrated. Yes, all that is true. But that does not give them the right to hurt somebody else or break things or destroy property, right? So as parents, we need to start recognizing these behaviors for what it is and really adopt the mindset that there is no excuse for these behaviors. Listen, there are strategies, there are different ways of expressing these emotions. That's what we're going to do. We're going to teach them. So they will have the outlet, but it won't be on you or me. We're not their punching bags. And we need to start thinking that, believing that, and acting that way. So remember, there is no excuse for abuse.
Okay, so question, what do you guys do when your child hits you? Let us know in the comments. Okay, Donna, so what do we do when our child or our toddler is being abusive?
That's a good question. That takes us to step number 3. When our kids are really, in that mode where they're so angry and they've, seem to have lost control of their, their emotions, and this is a good time for us to disconnect, right? I mean, because at this time we can't really stop the behavior.
Right.
Because your child might be at 10
Yep.
and they're in the red zone. So it's not a time where you could really
reason with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no reasoning. So this is a time where, as parents, our goal is to catch them before they get to that 10. So we want to observe our children. We all know our kids. So we know when something is brewing. We know when something is going to erupt. We know when something's going to happen. So try to intervene before
they get to the 10.
Right.
Yeah.
But if they were at the 10 and that's where they are becoming abusive, where they're hitting you, punching you, really, really hurting you, parents, be honest. It's hurting.
Yeah.
Literally, it's hurting. This is a time for you to disconnect. So you either remove yourself from the situation or you remove the child from the situation, which is removing the child from you. So really what we want to do is to disconnect for that period of time so that that child does not get the opportunity to hit you. Now, one of the things we talk about is, having a quiet corner. And you can see one of our videos where we talked about creating a quiet corner. And this might be a good place where you can redirect your child. You might physically have to remove your child, put them in the quiet area. That's an area where they have access to, maybe a squishy ball, maybe a favorite book, maybe a pillow, where they can just sit there, release some of that anger, some of that tension in an appropriate way, while creating some distance, physical distance between you and them. So really, the goal is to disconnect physically, create a distance between you and them, so that they do not have the opportunity to get to you physically and hurt you physically. So that would be step number 3, disconnect.
Okay, so let's do a review. Step number 1, acknowledge the behavior, call it what it is. Step number 2, adopt the mindset that it is abuse and there's no excuse for it. And step number 3, disconnect. Do not let your child hit you. Okay, so if you're struggling and you really need help, because this is not easy, it's challenging to deal with abusive behavior from our toddlers, and it's challenging to accept that mindset. So if you need help, we would love to give you this free resource. It's a free course that you can access right now, an in-depth, step-by-step plan that's going to help you manage these challenging behaviors. Click the link below and you can get your free course.
And remember to keep your ears open for our next video, where we are going to be talking about how to parent the difficult child.
And don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later.